Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stefan and today I'll be talking to you guys all about my first trimester of pregnancy with baby number 2. If you guys are new here, my name is Devin and I have a now 19-month-old son. He just turned 19 months a couple days ago. And I'm now pregnant with my second baby and I am so excited. I really cannot even tell you guys. We're feeling so incredibly grateful. And if you missed my announcement of the pregnancy video, then make sure to stop and watch that first, or I guess you can watch it after, but I will make sure to link it down below so you guys can watch that because I talk a little bit about sort of how everything came to be. I also did a video on my first pregnancy symptoms before my actual pregnancy test. So it was like the 2-week wait symptoms that happen like right after you ovulate. And so if you guys are interested in all of those TMI details, then make sure to check out that video as well. But today I'm going to be talking mostly about the first trimester. And so that's basically from the beginning of your pregnancy all the way until I think 13 weeks. So that's when you start your second trimester. So when I'm filming this today, I am 17 weeks and 1 day. So a little late to filming this, but that's okay. I still wanted to make sure to get it out for you guys. Oh, and by the way, again, if you're new here, I filmed the entire pregnancy updates for my son, and I did those monthly. I just decided that was not really feasible for this pregnancy, being a stay-at-home mom to my toddler and just like having a really rough first trimester. I just decided I was going to do first trimester, second trimester, third trimester. So hopefully that's okay with you. That's what I am able to do. Also random, but I just realized I took my rings off and now I feel weird and naked. But yeah, my son is napping right now, so I figured I'd go ahead and film this video. And I do have everything documented on my phone. I wasn't as detailed. I mean, I'm just realizing in general how different I am this pregnancy than the first pregnancy with just documenting everything. Like I've barely taken any bump photos and I definitely have a bump now. I did like way more detailed documenting of my symptoms. I obviously did the month-to-month videos. Yeah, just a little different this time around. And I'm sure all of you experienced moms are like, yeah, girl, we know that. Like, we saw that coming because, yeah, it's just different once you actually have one already. But I do want to warn you, if you've never seen one of these videos, I go into all the details, all the TMI. So if you're squeamish or don't want to hear all that stuff, I mean, this video is not for you. Okay, so like I said, I already talked about my like early symptoms, so I'm not going to repeat those things. Definitely make sure to check that video. I believe I was like almost, no, I think I was right around 5 weeks maybe when I found out that I was pregnant with my positive test. And so I would say we'll just start there. The 5th week was pretty normal. Like leading up to, I definitely had all those symptoms and you can watch that. But then after the pregnancy test, I sort of was like, I feel pretty normal, like nothing's really crazy. I think the only thing I really experienced was gas. I think that was definitely like the earliest symptom for sure. That just sort of kept going into my first trimester. I would say towards the end of week 5 is when I started to feel a little bit of nausea, like during the day or like random times, like when I didn't have a full stomach. And so I was just trying to make sure that I would eat. And then week 6 came around and I was slapped in my face with the nausea, and it just, you guys, it really was rough. So if you don't already know, I definitely experienced nausea / morning sickness with my son, definitely in that first trimester, and I was very lucky to not have it in the second or third. And it was rough, right? Like I don't think anybody has fun with nausea. I was very grateful that I think I only actually threw up in that pregnancy maybe once, which was really nice. And I think it was because I ate too much ice cream one day. So for the most part, like it definitely was not fun, but this time around it was like, oh my goodness, like brutal. I just remember telling my husband that if this baby is a girl, we're done. I'm not doing this again. I'm so over this, which sounds so ungrateful, right? Because the symptoms are so good. I also realized I forgot to mention a disclaimer that this is going to sound like when I'm talking through all these symptoms, like I'm complaining, that I'm ungrateful. That's not the case. I literally just want to A, document, and B, inform just what my experience was. And a lot of those physical symptoms are not fun. And that does not mean that I'm not incredibly grateful for the baby in my belly. That doesn't mean I'm still not so in love with the baby inside of me. And I definitely don't want to take any of that for granted. So just wanted to make sure to clear that out there. It may come off as really negative and complaining, but I'm still so grateful for the life inside of me and the fact that I am getting symptoms, because normally that correlates with a healthy pregnancy when you have a lot of symptoms. And so that, I will say, was one good thing with the fact that I was dealing with so much nausea, is because, okay, well, at least that's like, in my mind, evidence that things are moving along in my belly. And so I did have a chemical pregnancy, or early miscarriage, right before this pregnancy. And so just going into this pregnancy, the first trimester, I was just a little bit more like, I would say, anxious, nervous, however you want to put it. Because like anytime I felt normal, I was like, oh no, is something wrong? Like, is things not progressing? Is the HCG not increasing? Like, which is so not the way to go about it and so negative. But that's just how I felt after the loss. And so again, with the fact that I was feeling nausea, it was like bittersweet. I was happy that I had like something manifesting physically, but it was rough. Like, the nausea in this pregnancy was way harder than my pregnancy with Theodore. So yeah, on top of that, the fact that I'm at home and taking care of a toddler while I'm feeling so sick, I think just made it even more difficult. At the time, Theodore just really wasn't sleeping well, and so my body wasn't able to fully recover like from the day, and it was hard. So nausea, that's like the theme going forward. My fatigue started to increase. Nothing started to sound good. Like, when I started to think about what I wanted to eat, I was like, no, like, no, none of that sounds good. I remember going to church with my husband and just getting there was traffic. It was like, not on Sunday, we were going to something in the evening, and I literally, like, there was traffic, and I considered pulling over to throw up because I got so sick. And that's not normal for me. I was sitting in the front seat. I wasn't reading my phone. I just got so nauseous. And then my first food aversions started. It was meat and it was coffee. So this was the week that I stopped drinking coffee. Like, I'm not someone who's like, no, I can't drink coffee. Like, as long as it's like 1 cup a day or so, that's fine. But like, I remember this being something with Theodore too, is like, I think for most of the first trimester, I couldn't drink coffee, and that was the same with his pregnancy. And meat. I remember that kind of being a thing before too, but yeah, it just did not sound good. I just wanted bready. I mean, I didn't want anything, I should say, but the stuff that I could stomach was just like bready stuff, like bland, chippy things. Just, yeah, I didn't want anything meaty. Week 7, I think, was the worst week of my pregnancy. Personally, the nausea was all day. It was constant. I wanted to be in bed or on the couch all day, which is impossible when you're staying at home with a toddler. Literally nothing sounded good. I wanted to throw up multiple times. Like, I went into the bathroom, like by the toilet, sitting on the ground, thinking I was about to puke. And luckily I didn't. I don't know if it would have made me feel better, but I personally hate to throw up. So I think that like I didn't allow myself to like let that happen. I literally had to force myself to eat. Like, my husband had to like help me, like, dude, you're making a baby. We need to get you something down. Like, it was like, okay, I'll like force down this piece of toast. And it was so hard. So I told you coffee and meat were the food aversions from week 6. That continued, and then added any sort of dairy, like cheese was fine, but any sort of like milks or yogurts, things like that. And then sweets. Ugh, gross. I only could stomach like savory things, or bland stuff. Like anything sweet, candy, chocolatey, nothing. I had like full on diarrhea one evening. And so I think that was just due to a lot of like hormonal stuff going on in me, and probably just the fact that my diet was like so different than normal. Which goes to the next one. The gas was pretty rough, as well as constipation. And I think that really has to do with the diet because, yeah, my body was probably like, well, what the heck's going on? You're barely eating anything. Like the things that you're eating are like breads and stuff. And so you're bound to be constipated. Okay, and then week 8. This was actually the week of Christmas. And so I remember not feeling great, but knowing that I had to kick into gear. And keep in mind, I had not told anybody about the pregnancy. My husband and I wanted to wait till after the first sonogram. And so that was going to be during week 8, which was the week of Christmas. Like that, I think that weekend was Christmas. And then I had the appointment, I think it was on Wednesday. And so Christmas, I think, was like on a Saturday or something like that. So literally, Saturday or Sunday, but it was, one of those things that I knew that I had to get things done. Like I knew I had to wrap presents. I knew that I had to like prep for like food and go grocery shopping. And so like I was able to get that done. And I really do think it was just because I had to, and like the adrenaline was kicking in and all of that. But so I think like in general, I was starting to feel better. I think it had to do with like just the fact that I had to get stuff done, but I would still get waves of nausea throughout the day. And I was pretty fatigued, which made it hard to get stuff done. And I would say the evenings were probably the worst, but I just know that I was like grateful because like when I had times that I was spending with family and friends, like things kicked into the gear and I was able to like be okay in that moment. And then I feel like as soon as people left, then I started to feel sick again. So it's funny how that works. So week 9, so now like we're like the week after Christmas and getting into like New Year's. Mornings and evenings were still not great with nausea, but I would say this is when I was starting to be able to like enjoy some food during lunchtime. Like lunchtime was my prime time. I wasn't really feeling nauseous, which I was like feeling so grateful for the days. Like I would look forward to lunchtime to feel good and to like be able to enjoy my food. Like this is the first time in a while that I could do that. So I remember having like lunch with some like friends and stuff and like really being able to be like, ooh, yum, like I can eat this. This is great. I was dealing with a good amount of fatigue though. Like I just wanted to be on the couch all day. I still was dealing with like occasional gas and stuff. But overall, like things were looking up. Week 10, morning and day was not bad with nausea. So I was like, okay. So now it turned from like lunchtime being my prime to like mornings were starting to get much better. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. And then the only thing is like once like 4-ish started to roll around is when I started to feel sick with the nausea. And so it's really hard to eat dinner. So I was able to get good breakfast, good like snacks and lunch. But like dinner, it was like, oh my God, I can't eat anything. I don't want to eat anything. I don't. And so my husband had to really help get me to eat something. I just remember making dinners for my son and my husband and like me eating like a piece of toast. But gotta do what you gotta do. Week 11, days were so much better. And I was able to get down full dinner too. Like towards the end of this week. And I was like, okay, like I'm having like 3 meals and my snacks. Things are looking great. I'm super happy about this. But the fatigue was getting worse. So as the nausea got better, my fatigue got worse. So I was like, what on earth? So I think like say probably week 11 was like the worst with fatigue for sure. And still got like occasional gassiness, but feeling better. Week 12 fatigue again was really rough. And I only really got nausea at bedtime. So before I was still like getting it in the evening, afternoon. But now it's like good for dinner. And it was really just like when I would lay down to bed, I would start to feel like a little sick and it would make me have difficulty with being able to like go to sleep. I remember weeks 11 and 12 is when I started to pee more frequently for sure. And that's continued on. What else? I also forgot to mention that like vivid dreams throughout my first trimester. have been going on, like more so than with Theodore. But yeah, the dreams are like not fun. Most of them are nightmares, but they're just super vivid. I remember a lot of it when I wake up, and it's just like super annoying and frustrating for sure. And then just in general, like I feel with my stomach towards the last couple weeks of the first trimester, I started to feel like some stretching and pulling in my stomach, because I was starting to, like, you know, create a human in me, and the human was getting bigger. And so I was getting a little bit of sort of like that stretchy feeling in my stomach. Also, throughout the pregnancy, my boobs started to get bigger, feel more tender. They definitely are a lot bigger because after breastfeeding and weaning him at 13 months and just getting my body back, kind of, yeah, they definitely looked a lot different than before having that kid. And so I think that's probably a positive symptom, is they're starting to look a little bit more lively. So there's that at least. But yeah, week 13 rolled around and I felt like a new woman. I feel like I got energy back. I feel like I could eat anything now, and it's been awesome. Like I feel like my food aversion subsided, and then I was able to just like eat. So I think that's where I'll sort of stop things, because then I'll start talking you through second trimester, and that obviously won't be filmed until after I'm done with my second trimester. So like I said, I'm 17 weeks today, so we still have a ways to go to my second trimester. I am just overall, I think the first trimester was a lot more rough than my first trimester with Theodore, mostly because the nausea and the fatigue was definitely a lot worse, and just because I had to run around and take care of my son all while dealing with that. I will say that I was super grateful that my husband was so helpful, and I'm so incredibly grateful for him, and he really helped out as much as he could around work, and so things are looking up, guys. If you are in your first trimester, there's hope. I promise that it will get better in some capacity. Like I know some people deal with nausea throughout their pregnancy, but then you might feel more energy, or you might be able to get food down and still deal with morning sickness or whatever it is. So either way, there's going to be some progress, all right? But I think that's about it. Maybe I'll show you guys a little bump. Okay, so today, again, I'm 17 weeks, and this is a little bump that I got going on. So it is definitely out there. I'm growing day by day. I'm feeling grateful. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure also, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, to click that red subscribe button. That way you don't miss any of my future videos. You can also follow me on Instagram. My handle is Life by Devin, and there I share a little bit more of my day-to-day and like stuff that I eat and my son and my bump and all that. So make sure to follow me there. But anyways, thank you guys again, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.